You were fools to trust me. The power of the ancients will be mine.
Kalen stood above them. A cruel smile twisted his features. His eyes, once warm and familiar, were cold and merciless. He held aloft the scepter of ascendancy, its emerald glow now tainted with a sinister crimson light. Varis felt a cold dread grip his heart. Anya gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Betrayal cut deep, especially from someone they had trusted like a brother. The weight of his actions crashed down upon them. Their fight for survival had just become infinitely more desperate.
The power of the ancients will be mine.
He laughed, a harsh and hollow sound that echoed through the ruined courtyard. Varis struggled to rise, his body battered and bruised from their recent escape. Anya knelt beside him, her eyes blazing with defiance. She drew her bow. A single arrow knocked and aimed at the figure who had once been their closest companion.
Why, Kalen, we thought you were different.
Different? I am the last true heir of the ancients. This world will bow before me as it was always meant to be.
Anya's arrow sang through the air, aimed true. Kalen deflected it with a flick of his wrist, the scepter pulsing with dark energy. He was changing, his features becoming sharper, crueler. The power was consuming him, twisting him into something monstrous. Varis felt a surge of anger. He refused to let this betrayal break him. He would not let Kalen win. This realization sparked a change within him. No longer just a survivor, he was now a shield against the encroaching darkness. Anya continued to fire arrow after arrow, each one met with an effortless wave of Kalen's hand. He was toying with them, reveling in his newfound power. But beneath his arrogance, Varis sensed fear. Fear of what he was becoming, fear of the power he could not control. The air crackled with energy, the ground beneath them trembled. The remnants of the ancient city seemed to groan in despair, mirroring the turmoil in their hearts. They were outmatched, outgunned, and out of time.
"We have to go,"
Varis shouted, pushing himself to his feet. He ignored the throbbing pain in his side, the dizziness that threatened to overwhelm him. They had to escape, to regroup, to find a way to fight back. Anya hesitated, her eyes still locked on Kalen. She wanted revenge, but Varis knew that now was not the time. He grabbed her arm and pulled her away, running towards the crumbling walls of the courtyard. The ancient forest loomed before them, a wall of emerald green and deep shadows. It was said to be the oldest living thing in the world, a place of forgotten magic and untold dangers. Legends whispered of spirits that guarded its secrets, of ancient beasts that slumbered beneath its canopy. But it was their only hope. They plunged into the undergrowth, the sunlight quickly swallowed by the dense foliage. The air grew heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. Strange sounds echoed around them, the rustling of unseen creatures, the creak of ancient trees, the distant roar of something primal and untamed.
We can't outrun him forever.
She was right. Kalen would not rest until he had the scepter and their lives. Varis nodded, his jaw set. He knew they needed a plan, a way to fight back, but how could they possibly defeat someone wielding the power of the ancients? They stumbled upon an ancient stone archway, half hidden by vines and moss. It was etched with strange symbols, the language of the ancients, long forgotten by all but a few scholars.
This is a gateway, a portal to another time, another place.
A prophecy.
They whirled around to see a wizened old woman emerge from the shadows. Her eyes glowed with an ethereal light, and her presence seemed to hum with ancient power.
The last Scion, the fallen king, and the shadow that consumes all.
Her words hung in the air, each syllable heavy with foreboding. Varis and Anya exchanged a nervous glance. They had been searching for answers, for guidance, but was this cryptic prophecy the help they had hoped for? The old woman, who called herself Eldoria, led them deeper into the forest, towards a hidden grove bathed in an ethereal light. She spoke of the prophecy, of the ancient struggle between light and shadow, and of the role they were destined to play.
Kalen is not the true heir. He is but a pawn, manipulated by the shadow that seeks to consume this world. The scepter is a key, but it can be used for both good and evil.
Varis listened intently, his mind racing. The weight of their task settled upon him with crushing finality. He had to stop Kalen, not just for Anya, not just for himself, but for the fate of the entire world. But how could they possibly hope to defeat a force that had consumed countless worlds before theirs? Alara led them to a hidden cave, its walls covered in ancient murals depicting epic battles and forgotten heroes. She pointed to a shimmering tear in the fabric of reality, pulsing with an ominous energy.
This is where the shadow gains its power. You must go through this portal to the source of its power. Only there can you hope to defeat it.
Varis felt a chill run down his spine. The portal pulsed with raw energy, promising untold dangers and unimaginable horrors. He knew that stepping through meant facing his deepest fears, confronting the very essence of darkness.
We don't have a choice. We have to do this for everyone, for everything.
She squeezed his arm, her eyes filled with a fierce determination. Months passed. Months of grueling training, of mastering forgotten skills, of forging alliances with those who still resisted the encroaching darkness. They formed the Order of the Verdant Shield, a beacon of hope in a world on the brink of despair.
Our victories are spreading, inspiring others to rise up against Kalen's tyranny.
We've liberated villages, rescued captives, and struck fear into the hearts of those who had pledged allegiance to the Shadow.
Varis found himself thrust into the role of a leader, his every word, every action scrutinized and admired. He drew strength from Anya, her unwavering faith in him a constant source of comfort and motivation.
Varis, remember, we are the light in this darkness. We must keep pushing forward.
But the memory of the portal, of the task that awaited them, hung over their heads like a sword poised to strike. One by one they fell. Brave warriors, skilled mages, ordinary people who had found the courage to fight for a better tomorrow. Each loss chipped away at Varys' soul, fueling his anger, his determination.
Their sacrifices must mean something. Their deaths cannot be in vain.
Anya, ever resourceful, discovered a way to amplify the scepter's power, to use it as a beacon to rally their scattered forces.
We will make our final stand at the heart of the Shadow's power. This is our last desperate gamble to save our world.
As they prepared for the final battle, Varys saw a glimmer of hope in the eyes of the recruits, the young men and women who had answered their call to arms.
You are the future, the seeds of a new era. We fight to ensure our world survives.
The final battle was a maelstrom of chaos and destruction. The ground shook beneath their feet, the sky rained fire, and the air crackled with the clash of magic and steel. They fought with the fury of cornered animals, knowing that defeat was not an option.
Kalen, this ends now.
Varys finally faced Kalen, their blades locked in a deadly embrace. The scepter pulsed with chaotic energy, threatening to consume them both.
You cannot win, Varis. The darkness will consume you.
Anya, her eyes blazing with power, unleashed a torrent of arrows, each one imbued with the light of the ancients.
For the Order of the Verdant Shield.
In the end, it was Anya's arrow that found its mark, piercing through Kalen's defenses and shattering the scepter. The Shadow's grip on their world weakened, its power receding like a tide. But the victory came at a terrible cost. Anya died in his arms, her last breath a whisper of hope for the future. Varys grieved, his heart shattered, but he knew he had to carry on. He had to rebuild, to honor her sacrifice, to ensure that their world would never again come so close to the brink.
I will honor your sacrifice, Anya, I promise.
Years turned into decades. The Order of the Verdant Shield flourished, becoming a symbol of peace and prosperity. New cities rose from the ashes of the old, and the land healed under the watchful gaze of the ancient trees.
Look at them, Anya. They are the future.
Varys, his hair now streaked with silver, watched as a new generation trained in the courtyard of their fortress. They were the future, and he had faith that they would be ready when the Shadow inevitably returned. For even in the darkest of times, hope always finds a way to bloom.